trying to leave Wuhan. It's noteworthy that our pilots, flight crew, nurses, and MFA consular officers volunteered to fly into the epicentre of the epidemic. We will leave no Singaporean behind.
Before the trip, there was a fear of getting the virus in late January and early February at that time. The world had a very superficial understanding about what the virus was all about. We are not sure about the origin, about the modes of transmission.
There was a lot of interagency planning that went on, so we had meetings not just with MFA but with our colleagues from MOT, MOH, MHA, MND, you name it. So not just in Singapore, our colleagues from the Singapore Embassy in Beijing were actually the ones that were also helping to communicate with all the Singaporeans from around Hubei.
When we were just flying above Wuhan, you could see that all the city was brightly lit. The streets were all brightly lit, but there was not a single car. There was nobody on the streets. So I remember when the plane was taxiing to the runway, I could see these two big words, Wuhan, on top of the airport. And then when we land, we actually entered an empty airport because there was nobody there at that point.
My main role when I was there was to ensure that everyone was accounted for. So we had to do an attendance taking to make sure that everyone was around, everyone was well. We were also there to answer some of the questions that some of the Singaporeans might have. And so we were there to really assure them that our agencies back in Singapore has made the necessary arrangements to ensure that they'll be given a proper place to serve out their quarantine.
So and then they had to wait for about 6 hours for everybody to board on that plane. And then after that, they had to go through 4.5 hours to Singapore and then go through 14 days of quarantine. So it's a great determination on the part of our Singaporean friends and who are on the same flight.
So I still remember when we were on the ground in Wuhan Airport, we were busy interacting with the Singaporeans, taking their attendance. And one Singaporean gentleman, he came up to us and he saw that we were very busy, and he actually went about to locate 2 bottles of water and then came and brought it to us. It's just a small act that this gentleman had done for us, but it really touched me that that he also took the time and effort to think about us and to offer us some water. It's a very kind gesture. I think on the flight back, everyone was very relieved to go home. And as for us, the consular officers, the operation itself was, I think, 12 to 15 hours, quite a long operation. So by the time when we were on the return leg of the flight, we were all quite tired as well and relieved that we managed to account for everyone that was supposed to return. So we had a good sort of sleep on the flight back.
When I entered that plane, I was very exhausted. In fact, I was sweating with forehead and the back because there was actually quite a lot of running around and just to make sure that things were all right. At one point, the sweat actually went into my eyes, but I couldn't rub it with my gloves because my gloves were contaminated with the exposure outside. Our mission is really very simple, is that we'll leave no one behind. We want to make sure that every Singaporean that's listed in the manifest, we'll be able to bring them back.
We really have to thank especially the Singapore Embassy in Beijing, as well as the officials from the Chinese government and the Hubei provincial government, who were very instrumental in ensuring that the entire operation was conducted smoothly.